when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes.
Maybe that's the real punk rock.
You die, I die.
You got life! Cowhide. Synthetic cowhide.
He's flying.
Scooby-Doo.
Are you watching closely?
And here we go. Howdy, howdy.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Sorry for rushing you here.
No, it's not Russian. I just thought we were doing it at 4.
So that's okay. We're doing 3 now because it works better with Anya's schedule.
Okay.
We can do it when she's napping now, so that's why we're doing it like that. And I'm currently stacking her blocks because they're on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, hi. Feel like it's been forever, but it's only been 2 weeks.
Yes.
Because we took last week off because I had a wedding to go to. Zach had a wedding to go to, so that's all fine and dandy. I wanted to hear. Wait, yeah. Last time we talked, you hadn't seen the Odyssey, so I want brief thoughts. But we will have the Odyssey episode later when Josh gets around to it.
Yes. I gave my review of it, and pretty much it's a kind of an film. I'd say there's a lot of critiques I could give about it. I'd say it's a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 in my opinion. I think what annoys me the most is that the glazing it's getting, which I don't
For
think
me.
is yes, and just more like critics, like, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever, and then like it just kind of annoys me that it's making like so much money. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, actually, I don't know how much it's made.
It was like almost $1 billion, I thought.
Oh, we'll see here. 2026 box office. Yes, you're right, actually. Brand New Day. Oh my goodness. Guys, I didn't even... Holy buckets.
What, for Brand
Sorry.
New Day or for
No.
Odyssey?
Okay, so I've kind of been chatting in movie news about how much Spider-Man is going to make. And I had asked AI, which can be wrong, that what the top movies or the movies that made the most worldwide in their opening weekend were. And Avengers Infinity War was number 2. Sorry, Spider-Man No Way Home was number 3 at 600 million in the opening weekend, which is cool. Avengers Infinity War was 640 million in second place. Number 1 was Endgame at 1.2 billion opening weekend. Now, it's still Sunday. We have, I don't know when they report these numbers. It's currently 3 o'clock on Sunday. So there's 9 more hours for people to go see the movie, and it counts as opening weekend. It's sitting at 927 million already, which is ridiculous. And it's still going to, it's going to be in theaters for like 2 more months. So that's ridiculous. The Odyssey is right behind it, but that's been out for 3 weeks now at 911 million. That's ridiculous. Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't realize that an opening.
That?
I've never seen an opening. Okay, I have seen, but I wasn't paying attention to box office back when I watched Infinite or Endgame. But man, that is ridiculous. Brand New Day at number 4 for the year already, and it's definitely going to pass Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5 is at 1,065 million. Wow. That's crazy. Anyways, we were talking about the Odyssey, which apparently, I guess, Brand New Day probably just passed. Maybe an hour ago, whenever they report it.
Yeah. Which there's a lot to be said about that, but yeah, Odyssey, I think was just fine. There was obviously, I think Critical Drinker. I haven't watched his review of it, but there's.
You don't have to. You can think for yourself. You don't have to have the Critical Drinker tell you what to think.
No.
Sorry, that's a little.
I'm just saying. Like, no, I was going to make his point. Like where he made the point. Like the it's just the people who were in it that were casting was interesting. Weren't in it for very long, which is what I expected. It's still jarring. The whole movie is kind of jarring, and yeah, there's just a lot of just weird choices. I think I will give credit for this much though. I think Christopher Nolan was very, very good at making individual scenes. If you took that scene and like watched it like a few years later, like wow, that's a great scene, so much intensity. Like he was really good. Like especially I like the Cyclops one, like the fear you get for that. Great, awesome. But I think we made this point too when we said we're gonna when Nolan was gonna make this. I was like, yeah, but he's like a super realism guy, and he did allow magic, but it's like the most like begrudging amount. Like it's not very fantastical if in the sense of just okay
William,
there's a bunch of stuff there, but
I know I do want some content for the Odyssey episode, but I understand what you're saying. And something I'm going to talk about during the Odyssey episode is some videos that have made me mad, saying that you either completely hate this movie, or no, if you like this movie it's because you're woke, and if you hate this movie, or if you like this movie it's because you're woke, and if you're not woke, you have to hate it. And there's people who are saying that just because they disagree with 2 casting decisions means that it's the worst movie in the world. Or the opposite, when you think that the movie is good and therefore you have to agree with all that. That's what's been annoying me most. And I'm like, I enjoyed it and I have my own opinions, but I don't want to bring politics into it.
Yeah. And so just in summary, like I'd say it's fine. I'm not going to watch it again, partly because I don't like watching 3-hour movies unless it's really, really good.
It's true.
And it's the same thing for Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer I think worked a bit better for Nolan's style, but I'm not going to watch this again. I just don't really care a whole lot. It just doesn't interest me compared to other Nolan films. So I'm like, I want to watch that again and get more out of it. This one I'm like, I don't really care. And the whole like, what if we were the bad guys all along, or whatever that was kind of going on there. I was like, it was just it's kind of meh for me. So it was fine. It's still a very good, well-made film. It's just yeah. I just mostly just annoyed that like people are like either glazing it or hating on it. I'm just like, it's just kind of It can be
yeah.
So
yeah, I get that.
Anyways, but yeah, we're talking about Ninjago though.
Yeah, we are, and I realized that Ellie might be offended that we decided to talk about this one. I didn't actually tell her what we were talking about.
Did she watch it?
We were going to talk about Ninjago. Okay, she just nodded. She's just playing Minecraft. I wanted to start with something really interesting. We had brought up or you had listed this as an idea a while ago to do this. And then I just happened to search it, and there was a Reddit post from 3 years ago that said, "Is Ninjago demonic or even satanic?" And I don't. I think it's really funny to entertain these ideas, kind of because we want to bridge that gap between entertainment and spiritual talk. Now, before you roll your eyes at it, it's based in some sort of Buddhist style beliefs. Not saying jujitsu is wrong. It's a good self-practice or self-defense practice, but it's one of those things that this person asked it, and kind of people were like, no in the comments, which is kind of obvious. But there's maybe something to it, at least for conversation purposes, you know?
Yeah.
The idea of magic and the it's almost the same as Avatar, the TV show, where it's just the earth is speaking. But again, that's fine for fiction. If you're starting to believe that, that's the problem.
Well, here's the thing I'll say about that. So Ninjago is an accurate representation of like Buddhist philosophy as Marvel's Thor is of Norse mythology.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Because in the sense of what I mean is like, yes, they're taking some inspiration from, but like Avatar, for example, The Last Emperor is much more intentional about that. This is a kids show designed by Westerners taking what they believe or what they think is cool about a different culture, and then using it for a kids show. And that's kind of like Ninjago in general. For example, season 4, Sky Pirates.
Sky Pirates.
Like that's literally the whole thing of the series. Season what was the other ones? There's a couple of other crazy ones. So just like the first season is just like, what if snakes but humans and evil? Okay. And then like the whole thing is that, and then like, or Ninjago itself is like, what if like ninjas, but young and spin really fast. Like that's Ninjago basically. And then like they have like, oh, dragons. Then we got like mechs here, and then like all this cool stuff, and like it's some sort of Japanese-y stuff like that. It's So I can sort of see where you're going into that, but like there's no, besides the metaphysics of just like it was made by one guy, and then the first Spinjitzu master, and then he had two sons who are fighting over each other, and one's good, one's evil. Like that's much more of a dualistic viewpoint. And there's some sort of stuff about like chi and unlocking your inner potential, but it's like it's a very standard Western portrayal of Eastern stuff.
Yep.
But again, it's just because the whole point of the show is kids entertainment. So yeah,
Okay.
I can sort of see where you get worried, but yeah, it's
Where I'm going to push back is because you were just complaining about how the Odyssey was a poor representation of Eastern mythology. You literally used Thor, the god.
Greek mythology.
Yeah, you literally used Thor to describe the perception of Ninjago, and I understand the difference between a kids show and an adult movie, but the same principle I believe applies. It's not meant to be the same thing.
To an extent, yes. However, the thing is, they're not adapting something. Ninjago is using real life cultures and inspiration from a variety of different factors to make a kid show. The Odyssey, for example, is an adaptation of a pre-existing story. There is a difference. Can you make like the argument like Thor, for example, like Marvel's Thor is like clearly not mythologically accurate, but that one's kind of like a sort of an in between the two of them. Because it's not so much, it's using it something that pre-exists, or your idea of it, to create a new character and a new story. The Odyssey, Nolan's Odyssey, is adapting, or at least ostensibly adapting. You could say, oh, he's just making a story. It's like, it's a bit more complicated than that, but there is a difference between the two. But I do understand what you're kind of saying, but I don't really think it follows through necessarily. But,
all right.
But the main thing though about like Ninjago though is, since we're going to get into it, is just, it's essentially their most successful self-made theme, because Lego, so what Lego did, I don't do it as much nowadays, RIP, is that Lego would like always produce themes, so like their own storyline / settings of sorts, and Ninjago was kind of like one of their big ones, because I remember when it was first coming out. Actually, I very distinctly remember watching the second or third episode at Josh's grandparents' house with him before going to youth group. One of the random core memory I have. But their whole thing, like that, it's just like supposed to be a kids show with merchandise, because then you can get a 2-for-1. You can make the kids show, which kids will watch, and then they'll make them watch the merchandise, which means you can make more of a kids show, which means you can make more merchandise and ad infinitum. And I think they're on season 16 or 17. They're still going. I tapped out after at season 6 or so, and we can get into that a little bit, which is part of the whole point of like sometimes you need to let it die. But Lego has tried to replicate stuff like this. For example, they had Lego Legends of Chima, which actually I really enjoyed that one. That was 3 seasons, similar thing, just not as successful. Nexo Knights, again, not as successful. That was more like a Knights, but techno, feudal, and modern type of an idea. I don't know if there's a few others I've heard of more recently, like Lego Dreams, I think is one.
Yeah.
There's a couple I don't
but
know.
Ninjago has stayed true to all, or has stood the test of time.
Pretty much. It's just the most marketable and the most well-known. And oddly multi-generational too, which is interesting. But yeah, so Lego Ninjago is like the towering one above all of them. And it's just, there's a video that I'm not going to watch, but I might just reference it, that I kind of want to look at a little bit later. But it's like a full recap of Ninjago, and it's like 2 hours long. And I'm like, oh, brother, please. Because it just doesn't stop. They just keep going. So I'll kind of give like I'll ask you one thing, and I can kind of give my background for like Ninjago and kind of explain it. But do you ever watch it at all as a kid?
I never watched it. No,
Okay.
Ellie did, but we've only talked about like the idea of growing up with it, and I've never done it. Really quick, I was looking up some stuff on like IMDb. Series graph is really fun to see what shows people really liked. And there is technically different different series, but that's on a technicality. So this is Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu, which is 2012 through 2022, 15 seasons. I don't know why season 10 was only 4 episodes. That seems weird. You have a 9.7 as the season 9 finale, but honestly, not too many stinkers. There's a 5.1 in season 11, but that's like one of their longest seasons. So I understand that maybe 1 or 2 fell off, but almost everything's like an average. Oh, right here, 7.9 is the average. So people really like that. Same with stop sharing, share the other one. There's Dragons Rising, which is the present one. Still has Lloyd apparently, but these characters look new. And season 5 is still coming out. Season 5 is still coming out, but this is a 20 episode current show.
Yes. Yeah. So I have to be, I don't, I'm going to give you my background then of it too. So again, I remember when Lego Ninjago was first coming out. In fact, I actually remember the Lego magazine, which is super great. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
When they first teased it and I was like, what is this? So cool. And I remember watching first off, there was the movie because there was the Lego Ninjago movie and that was super cool.
Not the new movie.
Nope.
There was an older movie.
There was a Lego Ninjago movie, animated movie.
Kind of like the Clone Wars, where they started off with a movie and then made a show.
Yes, exactly that type of a thing. And that was like the one that introduced everybody, and then they actually started the TV show. And I remember watching the TV show, and then like there'd be new seasons that kept on coming out. We had Rebooted, we had Tournament of Elements. What was the 4th one? The second, because season 1, season 2, Rebooted, Tournament of Elements. The 5th one, which was the Ghost one. The 6th one, I think, was the Sky Pirates one. The 7th one was the Time one, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And that was the one that, and the 7th or 8th one was like that. One of those was the one that I ended up getting done with. Because basically, I kind of like got off of it after a while because the only way I was able to watch these is whenever they came to our local library, and they just weren't always there. And so later on, I eventually finished season 7 or whatever, and that was about the time when they had the Lego Ninjago movie, which I feel it's funny, but I don't like it because of the fact that after that they basically did like a soft reboot of the character designs, and I hate the character designs after that. It looks atrocious to me.
Okay, but it's not meant to tie into the TV show.
But it did, in the fact that it changed how people look, and they changed aspects, and then they brought Garmadon back as an Oni, and all this other weird stuff started happening. And so pretty much anything after the time travel one with the time twins, I just didn't watch because there's too much. And to my knowledge, what has approximately happened is Garmadon came back, Oni stuff happened, weird stuff happened. They went this whole on like the 16 realms. Some other stuff happened. And then like the realms merged, and then there's something, I think that's kind of like what the most recent one, the newer series, is about. It's like something about like dragons coming back and the realms have merged and there's weird stuff going on and other stuff. It got kind of chaotic and all that. But so that's kind of like my history of it. And I guess we can kind of just like go through them a little bit, but I think I'd say overall, like my experience with it was pretty positive. I enjoyed them. I liked them. They're very like simple, fun films. I do know, to my knowledge, like there's not like anything like hard woke, quote unquote, but there is like some limited LGBT. I think there's like a pride flag like shown at one point and stuff. So it's not like in the later seasons, and I haven't fully investigated it, but it doesn't seem like they've like done anything crazy. But that it wouldn't surprise me if like more stuff like that happens or something. But yeah. And so, but I think overall, like I really enjoyed it. They're just like fun. They're just like, you just like imagine yourself as a cool ninja with cool ninja powers who can do elemental stuff. And Josh, gosh, I think Josh. Josh and I like did like so many like, like when you create your own character or you self-insert yourself into like your favorite TV show or whatever, like so much of that. Like, oh, my character can do like all the superpowers, and he has like a stupid dragon that has like 7 heads that can spit like 5 different elemental powers, and it's super cool. And
Josh talked like that. Josh definitely talked like that.
Exactly. That's a little 1-for-1 replication. But like you just do that, and like that's the fun thing too. Like it was always something new each season and each like theme that they focused on. So yeah, I think that's why like if you had kids or whatever, I would recommend, I suppose, them for some kids as well, like once they get to that age. Although first season with the what's his name, the Overlord, was kind of creepy when he took over Garmadon. I'm not gonna lie, that was the creepiest ever that they ever got. But yeah, that's a little scary. Otherwise than that, though, it's pretty much like it's very much like it can have action. It actually, I am kind of, this is a bit of a hot take, but I kind of think that it should have ended after the first season or the second season. I forget which one.
Like only.
Yes. Okay. Actually. Because so they had the movie and like for the backstory of it, like you basically have this world where there's four elements, even though there's later extra elements that are added, but like there's the four elemental powers or masters, so like fire, lightning, earth, and ice, which is the funniest combination I've ever heard. And you got like this whole team, and they're trying to stop bad guys. First, just skeletons, then it's snakes, then it's the Overlord and his stone army, then it's like some more snake cult people, and then robots and all this sort of stuff. But like I really liked the dynamic. Actually, I think like the first two seasons are still like the best. Especially because they focus on this conflict between Lloyd Garmadon, who is like the Green Ninja, the supposed secret one, who's like can be like the greatest Spinjitzu master ever, and his whole thing is like he's like the son of Lord Garmadon, who is like the ultimate evil bad guy in the entire show. But he's kind of like was cursed to be evil. He was like literally bitten by a snake. I do wonder if there's like some Garden of Eden symbology of stuff going on there, but it's probably too deep for a kid show. But he's like literally bitten by the Great Devourer, turned evil, and all this sort of stuff. And he's like cursed to be evil. But at the end of it, he actually gets like this redemption thing where his son goes like full Super Saiyan, quite literally in the golden sense. And like I just loved that, like that final battle where like the Overlord takes over Lord Garmadon, and then like becomes like a dragon, and then Lloyd like defeats him, and it's like a super epic battle. It's super like, oh my gosh, it's the culmination of all these 2 seasons of build up and character development and worth. And then it's like, wow, happy ending. I was like, this is it. That was a good series. I actually thought it was going to end then, but then they kept on going, it wasn't bad. And I think the most emotional I ever got as a kid was Zane's sacrifice in season 3, I think, of Rebooted, where he like says, ninjas never quit. How do you explode? It dies. And then it ends with like him coming back, and like Zane, who's like his AI girlfriend, is like, oh my gosh, she's alive. Oh, it's super sweet and all this sort of stuff. And then they did season 4, which was right. But I think that they should have ended at season 2. I think it's season 2, with like basically him defeating the Overlord, because that was kind of like the big bad. Everything after that is just kind of like made some like more like they're just adding more and more backstory, and then, like, it's fun and everything.
How much backstory do you need?
Yeah, like it's at this point, it's like, okay, so actually this first Ninjago Series was like part of this race, and that they are he was predated by this thing, and he was predated by this thing, and so on and so forth, and all this sort of stuff. And then they're still going, which fine, I guess, but like it's just I really appreciate when shows can end well. I think that endings are like, in my personal opinion, I can pretty much stomach almost a lot of things if the ending is done well. Not even necessarily great, but if it's done well, then like, okay, the ending is, we have a satisfying ending, I can be okay with that. Which is why I get, which is why it's sometimes difficult for me to get into a lot of TV shows, because it's a lot of time, and the ending's kind of why would I care? And I don't know when Ninjago is going to end. Like, oh gosh, it's gonna be it's gonna be a long time. But
I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't know why it's so popular. I understand that it's popular and that it's cool and all that, but compared to things, if it stood on its own, it'd be fine. But then you have them trying again with Chima and Nexo Knights. Well, I don't know that Nexo Knights had a show. Oh yeah, it did. Okay. And then they had Dreams, or have Dreams now. It's just all a little crazy that Ninjago has stayed around. And even like Chima, they had to drop it eventually, and that's I don't know, but
yeah. And Chima's actually like a good example, because there is there's like at one point a crossover and so like there's like this whole like, oh my gosh, they're technically connected. And Chima,
Oh,
I actually
really?
Chima I wasn't like the biggest into personally, but like I did enjoy it, and like Chima I actually really appreciate because they did end it, and they actually ended it sort of on like a cliffhanger.
Mhm.
In a certain sense, quite literally, not quite a cliffhanger. It's like everything's satisfied, and then they're like, if you ever, you should just like look up the ending of Chima. It's really funny because then like they basically like do quite literally a zoom out. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so much more that could be unpacked, and that's never going to happen. What in the world?
Yeah.
But Chima, I really appreciate because again, they actually ended it pretty kind of a bit rapidly, but they did end it pretty satisfactorily for the most part. I'd say. And there was only 3 seasons long. It's digestible. Like if you're going to watch Ninjago now, it's like. Oh gosh. Oh. Hey, Lord have mercy on your soul. That's a lot.
Mercy.
That's a lot. I just
Yeah, especially if you're gonna try and catch up.
oh yeah, that's part of the reason why I've also given up too. It's like I can't. I just no. I can't. But I'll tell you. I think the reason why Ninjago was so successful is because it's a very simple idea done really well. Again, kid. What do kids like? They like cool stuff. They like ninjas. What if you have elemental ninjas with superpowers and like they go on crazy adventures? That's the thing too. Is like they're always doing like something new. Like they got the sky pirates. They get the ghost thing for a bit, and then you're able to get the sets. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I want to be able to build that. It's also kind of funny too for like how each of these series has like a gimmick. So Ninjago, when it was first coming out, I don't know if they still do it, but they had like the spinning game.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
The Beyblades.
Yeah, it's basically Beyblades.
I was never
like,
Beyblades
but
person,
you could
but-
make it, and like you could like make your own characters. And then like Chima, for example, had something similar where you would like launch your speeders at each other. And then Nexo Knights had like the video game where you like actually scan those and you could use those as power up in like a video game.
Oh
or
yeah.
something. I don't really know if they're doing that anymore because they're just so profitable on their own. But
Yeah.
and that's one thing I will give credit Ninjago for. It's at least Lego is still doing something creative on that front because 2010s, man, we had it gold. Like, there's so much great stuff. It was like peak Lego. You just had, and now it's all like whenever I go to like a Lego aisle, I'm just like, this is just like a new movie coming out, and this is a tie into a video game coming out, and this is a tie into this thing coming out. So I'm like, where's the themes, man? Where's like the original stuff you guys made?
Yeah.
What happened to the yellow skin, man? Where is it? It's all this weird tan apricot looking stuff.
Apricot looking stuff.
Yeah, because they're all realistic looking now, not like the minifig yellow.
Not the actual, not Ninjago, but you mean Lego in general.
No, but in general, because like they're always tie-ins typically.
Yeah.
To movies or TV shows or whatever. Because it just that's a great way because like Lego can make so much money doing that because it's basically free merchandising, and like they can just copy it off of that and just make a new thing, which. Yeah. It's disappointing because one of the best parts about Lego, especially when they had the Lego magazine, was just like all like the cool new stuff that'd be coming out. Like,
yeah, I remember
I have a list too, like Lego Agents 2.0, Castle, the different castle themes. What was the Galaxy Squad, which tied into Lego Agents? What was the other ones? There's so many. What was the archaeology one? Not Egypt. Lego. Oh, Monster Fighters. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
I got a list here somewhere. But like there's just like so many like nostalgic themes that were so great that they just like they're having like fun with. And I don't know. There's not as many I feel like nowadays, which is sad.
Yeah. And they're trying to hit that second wind with Ninjago, you know? Like they've written not second wind with Ninjago. I mean second
Next
gold.
gen?
Next gen, that's a good way to put it.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, there's like a new that's part of the reason why I was annoyed with the Lego Ninjago movie because it's kind of like that. It was definitely like, for example, in the Lego Ninjago film, which I know that's the one you've seen. Lloyd's mom is not Misako, and which was very annoying to me because like in the original TV show, his mother was actually like the love interest for both Wu and Garmadon, and Garmadon actually stole a letter Wu had written and passed it off as his own. And that's the reason Misako married him. And like, there's like this whole conflict kind of between the brothers and all that. And like her being her mother. And like versus in the movie, which I'm not saying like the movie was like bad or anything per se.
The movie's hilarious.
It was really funny. It was really funny. But it's just kind of like that's what people are thinking of Ninjago rather than like the OG quote unquote Ninjago. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like it kind of redefined it for like a next generation. And that's why they, like, for example, they brought Garmadon back. And part of like the original point of like the series for much of the seasons was that he actually is redeemed. And like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think I knew through general, is it osmosis? I don't know.
Yep, osmosis.
I knew that theme of like the redemption, or kind of the frustration that at least they showed in the movie between Lloyd and Garmadon is kind of how the later seasons went.
Yes, exactly. And so like that's why they brought him back as like an Oni thing, and they just did very much a reinvention of it, and not like a hard reboot, but he did sort of like a little bit of like a soft reboot in the sense of like kind of revamping it again, but for like a newer audience of sorts.
Yeah.
So people could be reintroduced back into this, or new people could be introduced into it.
Which I appreciated that as someone who never watched the show. So like it worked to an extent. Yes,
and that's definitely what they got a good secondary and maybe even tertiary audience now. Again, I just kind of like think like we probably should. I feel like they should have just ended it earlier, but I know they're not going to because it's profitable. But there's worse series that can continue. Yeah, there's worse series that can continue. But yeah.
Anyways, what are the themes? Since I obviously don't know anything, I'll just be the dummy. Actually, I haven't been reading Hounder's chats at all. Yeah, he was talking about Gargamel. He made me trip up. That's the Smurf guy, Garmadon, not being evil anymore. I think Ninjago's popularity mostly grew due to cartoon plus Lego movie. I feel like the Lego movie probably popped in too late on the scene. Not saying that it wasn't popular anymore, but that definitely wasn't the peak. Especially if you think that it was season 1 and 2 that was the best.
Ninjago, I think, was big before that. I think what the Lego movie did,
that's why they made the movie,
is it made Lego more mainstream for adults. I think that's what the Lego movie did.
Well, you mean the Lego movie or the Lego Ninjago movie?
Well, the Lego Ninjago, yeah. I think the Lego Ninjago movie also made it more mainstream for the average person, not just like the like kids. Because Lego is like one of the biggest toy franchises in existence.
Probably the biggest.
Yes, so it's not like they necessarily like people recognize Lego. It's just the specific themes of it. That's why like the Lego movie was like very interesting when they made it, and it was like, oh, okay, because we're just going for kind of everything now.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was it? But yeah,
so
sorry.
Go.
Okay, but yeah, I'm just thinking back to it because there's like so many. Like I remember when like people didn't know who the Green Ninja was, and we thought it was going to be Kai, and then like also like the whole like the relationship between between that's a sister, between Nia and Jay, and like that thing, and like them eventually getting married and all that sort of stuff. Which that's the other thing too is like season 6 technically didn't happen because he did a wish that went back in time and prevented the whole thing. It's a crazy vibe. I feel like it's funny. I'm explaining this to you as if you know because you don't.
I don't. Because
the first 2 seasons are basically about the ninjas. So you start off with four people. You have Kai, Cole, Jay, and Zane. And honestly, I almost don't want to like tell you. Just like you can watch it.
I'm not gonna watch it.
I know, but I almost want you to because like there's with your kid because it'd be really funny. But
that would be fun.
For example, there are so many like early like plot things. Like for example, Zane was revealed to be a robot. Like that blew like my little kid's mind. Like, oh my gosh, that's like the biggest revelation since sliced cheese.
Well, and then I saw that in the Lego Ninjago movie. I'm like, not that it's weird. That wouldn't be a surprise now.
No, but like again, like back then, like there were so many things that are like, oh my gosh, he's a robot. What? How in the world does that even work? Yeah. And then like the fact that like Jay and Nia started slowly getting together and having a thing, and then Kai and Skylar sort of, and then Zane and Pixel. Cole's R.I.P. Cole. Unless they make him gay, which I am afraid that he might. But like, yeah, like see, the first 2 seasons are just focused mostly on them, kind of like growing in their elemental powers, and it's a lot of like MacGuffin hunting. First off, like they're trying to get the 4 Spinjitzu, the 4 elemental weapons. And then like there's like a dragon associated with each one, and then the dragon become a 4-headed dragon, and like the first season ends actually with them fighting the Great Devourer, which is this giant big snake that's like the big bad guy. And Garmadon actually uses because he's got the 4 hands, so like he can hold the 4 different weapons. That's why if you've ever seen Garmadon, he's got the 4 hands, and he actually defeats the Great Devourer. In the second season, they're kind of dealing with a fallout of that, and Garmadon is actually rallies the Serpentine. The Serpentine are like basically there's 4 different tribes. Well, fifth one, but there's 4 different tribes, and they're all like different like snake people, and they each have like a thing. Like one of them is constrictors. One of them they bite you. The Fangpire, they bite you. You turn into a snake person. The other ones are like spit venoms and like hallucinate and all this sort of stuff. And that's kind of like what the first 2 seasons are sort of about. And eventually it gets to this thing where Garmadon is actually defeated, and he goes to a secret continent island to fight the Overlord, who is like the original big bad. And he is like pure evil, like literally pure evil. Garmadon is like turned evil, but he's kind of a fun evil. He can kind of work with the people because he does care about his son. He does care about Lloyd, like in the Ninjago film. He's got that.
It's so funny how much I'm relating what you're telling me about the show to the movie. And I'm like, yeah, of course, because that's how it was in the movie. And then you're like, but the movie is garbage. Like,
yeah, I have a against the movie, and I will forever. But it does get some parts of it correct, which is kind of like the whole point. What was the thing? Oh yeah, so then like he goes on this whole thing like the Overlord, where he like gets like this stone. What do you call it? He unlocks a stone army, which are basically invincible, and so the ninjas have to go over there to that island, have to try and stop him and fight him, and eventually they get to this point where and again, I still think the first season are just the greatest because they build up the Overlord for a very long period of time, and he gets to this thing where he unlocks destiny, because like Garmadon's destiny is to become like the big bad. Even though he kind of doesn't really want to, he does. And so the Overlord possesses him, and it's like the creepiest thing ever, because he like turns like that's like the like. For example, you know how like Lego characters have like their little cuppy hands, like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like Garmadon, like it's like actual fingers, and it's really freaky.
Yeah.
And he slowly starts turning into a dragon. Like it's like the darkest hour. He's going to turn everyone evil and gray and all this sort of stuff. And it gets to this point where like the ninjas like actually do like a rallying thing, and they have to like again like everyone they can call in to help. They still each one of them gets taken down one by one. Lloyd, who's been going on like this whole thing where Lloyd originally was a kid, and actually he like was aged up, like literally magically aged up by magical potions that turned him into like an adult. So it's the whole thing too, and he's like the chosen one because like there's like the first Spinjitzu master and this Overlord. They were 2 opposing forces. The Spinjitzu master defeated him, passed away, his 2 sons, yada yada yada, and so Lloyd is kind of like the grandson of him. And he's like the chosen one to like be able to stop to channel like the powers of good and light and whatever. And he actually does like this whole Kamehameha thing, or however they call it from the Dragon Ball Z. I haven't watched it. And defeats him, and like it's like super cool, and like his dad redeemed, and like oh wow great. And then this rebooted follows that, where the Overlord turns into like basically a computer virus because he survives in a certain way, and he like it's got a whole robotic theme. So then Master Wu, who's kind of like old sensei guy, he actually turns evil. He gets turned into like a robot guy. There's like robot dragons. There's robot ninjas that are attacking them. That's the whole theme of that series. And in that one, the Overlord escapes again. He becomes real. And so Zane, to defeat him, what he does is like he takes the powers of the Spinjitzu weapons, which have been melted down into like new weapons for the Overlord, and like destroys the Overlord and sacrifices himself. And it's like, oh my gosh, Zane's dead. It's so sad, so sentimental. And then like at the end of that season, it's like it literally ends with Zane, Pixel, his kind of like his robot girlfriend thing, is like discovers that he's alive, and like the quote is like, "Are we compatible now?" Because that's the whole joke. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like he's referring to this one episode where like they're together, and oh my again, like little me is like, oh, this is the best. This is pure cinema. And then season 4 is all about the Master of the Elements. They go like discover Zane's alive. They go into this whole thing where they are in an elemental tournament against other elemental masters, and it's actually revealed that the Master Chen, the one who's behind this, is actually part of like the snake worshipping cult that wants to like turn people into like snake things, and he does it sort of successfully. But then he's eventually defeated by all the elemental masters. And then season 5 after that one, that's the one with the time twins, where one of the season 5 is the ghost one, where a ghost escapes one of Wu's former students, Moro. He escapes, takes possession of Lloyd's body, and basically goes on this whole thing throughout this entire period. But eventually he's defeated too, because like they're trying to unleash like this whole ghost army, and that's prevented, and he's kind of redeems himself at the end, and whatever. And then what was the other one? And then season 6, that's the one after that. That's the one with the time twins, and then basically like they're these 2 twins who are the elemental masters of time, and they did do time shenanigans, but eventually they're defeated. And that one I don't remember as much. That's like the last one I watched, and then they switched it up, and I was like, I'm good. Then that was like pre Ninjago movie, and then after that it just started changing. I'm like, nah, I'm out.
I love how you just have it down, like,
bro. This was like peak. Like this is like absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema.
You need like Josh and I can just like glaze early seasons because of just like we grew up like, oh my gosh, this is like simply awesome. And again, like, that's probably like the fun is like I think they're just enjoyable for kids too. It's like they're just like fun. Like, you just like they just like they're like pure like perfect boy stuff, and like also like just the theme song, jump back, kick and spin around, Ninjago. Yeah, it's just great. It's great. Yeah, it was good.
Fun.
This is kind of just like a nostalgia vibe thing episode, honestly, which is fine for me because I really enjoyed it, and just reminiscing like this is the stuff that I grew up with. So yeah. It's just it was just good stuff. I really appreciate them, even if they're still going. But at least, I mean, compared to other shows that have kept on going, they seem to be doing okay-ish, at least in regards to morality and stuff and what they're presenting. So but yeah, I think that if you have kids, like they're not the worst thing to have kids kind of watching when they're young. They're just fun. Yeah. And I think especially the first seasons are really actually pretty good. Like they're like much more emotional. And that.
Well, we want to talk more about the themes more than just the themes more than just the actual things that happened. As you're saying, it's a good show for kids to watch. What would you say makes it so that you can advertise it, I guess?
Yep. One thing, again, it's fun. It's they're not afraid. They're not like, you hear like, oh, these episodes are really, really dark. There's not like really necessarily that. I think they're definitely and this is a bit of a nostalgia hype, but the TV shows were definitely willing to kind of focus on like some more difficult stuff. Not like this is a kid show, so it's not like anything super deep, but like the conflict, the theme. There's very much a theme of like, for example, I really like the fact that Kai, who's kind of like everyone's favorite character when you first started, just because like he's like our introduction character, he's not actually the chosen one, and like part of his whole thing is like humility, for example, and also just or like sort of like a reluctance to accept a burden. For example, that's kind of Lloyd's thing, because he's like doesn't want to be the Green Ninja, because that means he has to fight his dad. He's destined to defeat his own father. And I liked that I think that conflict too, like, what also does it mean to be, if you're cursed with evil, how do you grapple with that? And then what can you do about that? And like, there's like kind of like an idea of like destiny and stuff. It's kind of a very standard cliche type of thing. But also, I think what I really like is like the theme of like camaraderie and brotherhood, because that's very much focused on as well. Because it's very much like this is a ninja team, and if we are like, the first seasons are very much focused on them building that bond and developing it and figuring it out and ironing it out. And what does it mean to do that? And like by the end of it, like they're rock solid with each other. But yeah, also just I really like Garmadon's kind of whole thing of like him sort of being reluctantly evil, and then kind of his redemption of sorts. Because what does it mean to now no longer be burdened with this literal evil that you've been dealing with all your life? What do you do now? And then like he kind of goes like this, oh, maybe I should just be a pacifist. And then but then like stuff happens where he ends up not doing that. But like him trying to make up for all the mistakes that he's done as well. And just Master Wu giving like some general good advice, very cliche, but, like, general good advice and stuff like that.
Is it even like with the Clone Wars? It's like each episode begins with a proverb or something. Is that kind of the character of Wu?
Sometimes
like,
he's very much that
nice
character.
To each other.
Yes, very. He's funny. He's getting kind of the stereotype of like the funny old man, but he's very much wise. But he's also got like, he's not imperfect either, which is fun too. But or no, he's not perfect. He's got some issues as well. But like it's. Dang it, I didn't see it. Okay. That noise made.
Correct, son.
Yeah.
Hey, we got it.
Yay. There we go. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very standard type of kids film. It's not like anything super deep per se, but I think it's got something like generally good stuff. Like, again, I appreciate that they're also able to like let the characters get into some pretty bad different situations. Like, how do we get out of this one? And it's a lot of like teamwork type of stuff. But I just like the dynamic, especially between Garmadon and Lloyd, and what does that mean when you're destined to fight your own dad?
Yeah.
And then just also, like the whole team building thing, like we have to work together to do this, and if we don't, then it's not going to go well. But
Nice.
yeah, I think it's just a very simple, solid film or solid series, at least initially early on, and they're just kind of fun.
Cool. Alejandro had a question. When does fun encompass hidden messages? As you were saying, like someone being gay or something like that in a kids movie. I think that's a good question. Like most kids TV shows, at least kind of in our generation, are safe, but you can't just assume all of it is going to be safe. And when there is hard stuff, then you can talk about it with your kids. But also, it's not you can't just give everything a pass.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. I mean that's definitely true. I think this came out in 2011, so it's kind of before any like the super craziness. And again, I've heard of later seasons where there's a little bit of something.
Mm-hmm.
But can you hear that at all? Are you good?
A little bit, but we're almost done.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just gonna say though that like, definitely, there's like nothing really. Like they don't really have any agenda to push. I have heard a little bit later on where maybe like there's like a pride flag at one point or like a pride sticker, but like it's as far as I'm aware, it's still not been like unless something else is coming out. I don't know if anyone's been confirmed like gay or trans or anything like that in any of the later seasons. There could be. I just haven't confirmed.
Sure. In
the earlier ones, like that, like that's 2011. That wasn't really as pronounced or focused. So no, there's not quite so much. I think.
Okay.
I would want to. I'd have to rethink about it a little bit, but I don't really think of anything like super concerning that I can really think of. I think it definitely would still be something that you could watch with a kid and just be careful of, but
it is like it did start in 2012, and that was before like you could get a good few seasons even if stuff happens in the later seasons.
Yes, and again, like it's not a Christian TV show. It's not pushing that, but it's also not like it doesn't focus on religion or anything really. It's just because again, it's more like the standard. They just want to make money, so it's more of a standard kid show in that sense. There could be a few things, but like generally speaking, I can't really think of any like really hidden messages or bad messages that they're really pushing overall. Because it's like just like a lot of standard stuff. So like there's one episode, for example, where Cole has to reconcile with his dad, and like and his like they have like a very standard cliche like episode where like Cole has to reconcile with his dad, and his dad like, oh, my expectations for you were different, and I can kind of accept you for not wanting to do what I want you to do. But like that's not like played off for like, oh, you're gay or anything. It's just like. Which there I guess there could be a critique of like something like that a little bit, but it's just very standard stuff, kind of like that.
Sorry, I just saw a headline. Well, first off, Anya's being distracting, and I should get going here. But I looked up what we're talking about, and apparently in 2024 there was an episode where he's holding hands, how Lego hands, with like an alien or whatever, some creature. And, some people are saying he's queer and whatever. But apparently he's also been confirmed to like girls twice before. So at the very least, whatever episode that was may be up for debate. But Cole and Cake is, I don't know. Never mind. It's not important. My point is, you can have those things, but it's very important if you're a parent like me, to be aware of what they're watching, not just put on the show and let it go, and then talk about anything that comes up.
Yes.
And to not
that's
just
why
discard the entire show after one problem. Like there's tons of other problems that you've overlooked. You just choose not to talk about it.
Yeah, and that's why, like, honestly, just like even if you just watch the first 2 seasons, I think that'd be fine. Because I'm really just trying to think of like anything that I'd be really hesitant about. I mean, like, it's not coming from a Christian moral perspective per se, but it's still from a Western perspective, which has got that Christian moral framework in the background. You feel like people are aware of it per se. So, yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
Cool.
I think, yeah. It's a bit of a simpler one because it's just Ninjago. It's just kind of like, I love it. I'm kind of extra. But I do think, I think that we kind of had it really good, and growing up with like 2010s Lego was just really good. There's just so much good stuff.
It's cool.
And that's one of them, and it's still around, which is interesting. I don't know.
I looked it up that all of the seasons are on YouTube. I thought.
Maybe.
The Lego or Ninjago, the Almost Complete Collection playlist has quite a few, I think. Now I have why is it playing? Pause. It's actually posted by Lego themselves. Oh my gosh, it's still going. 181 wait a second. Oh. They put all of the shows in one. I'm confused. Oh, they did both. Okay, so yes, basically all of the episodes are on YouTube for free by Lego themselves.
Yeah, because I mean it's 20 minutes long, and like they're making all their money off of they're
10 minutes. There's technically 30 episodes on average, and then 10-minute episodes. So maybe the way you watched them was there was 15 episodes, but 2 episodes in one sitting. You know, once you add commercials into a TV version, then it's a half.
I mean, well, I didn't watch it on TV though. I watched it on DVD.
Oh, okay. I don't know then.
That's
the right way to watch it, by the way. Get some from the get DVDs from the library, and there you go.
Yeah, well, this will just be like one kind of fun thing, but for me, it's like that's pretty much how I ever consumed anything because I didn't grow up with TV. The only way I could watch something new coming out was if it showed up at the library. So that's the reason why my Ninjago viewing was a bit haphazard because it's whatever is available there. So
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to call it for the day. Thank you for yapping with me and making sure that I am well educated on Ninjago now, on everything.
Yeah. Again, it's at least the first 2 seasons. I would always recommend that. Those were pretty fun. So.
Yep.
But yeah, if people on the Discord though, I'd really be curious, like if people have watched any other Ninjago episodes or Lego TV shows in general, and if so, what would you guys think of them? Even like Chima or Next Nights, which are. Those ones are okay in my opinion, but not the greatest.
Chima was the one that got more heat from Christian moms about is it spiritual? But because it's about your chi, you know.
Yeah, but
it's more about it's more just an energy source for your body.
Yeah, they're literally just taking the word chi as like energy and just using it as a power, like as a giant battery.
But also they still use the Beyblade thing that they did for Spinjitzu for the little motorbikes, and that was cool.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the whole thing is like you like pull it up and you like let them go and like.
And then the play features on the Lego had like targets that you could drive them into, and then they'd blow up or something. So yeah, that was cool. Anyways, we're getting off track. Listener, thank you for listening. Watcher, thank you for watching. Very special announcement. This Friday, or next week's episode is going to be on Friday. Giving us another hour of his time to talk about it, movies and stuff. And so that will be a special episode this Friday. You don't have to tune in if you don't want to, but we'll be live early, and then no episode on Sunday, obviously. But I just posted a reel about that. Share it to your friends if you so choose. It's a cool opportunity. Grateful that he gets to come back and hang out with us a little bit more. But tune in on Friday. Get your sticker that's still available. And until next week, know that you're loved. God bless.
Go with courage.